Hi. Hello. Can you hear me?
You hear me?
Barely.
Well,
Hello. Hi, I can hear you now.
oh gosh. Oh boy.
Well, you know what? Sometimes I notice with my AirPods is
Oh
if
wait,
the
you're
yes.
coming through the computer, not the not my AirPods.
Okay, I can hear it. Well, I don't know where I'm hearing you from. So you have to go to settings and connect.
I always forget to do that. Bluetooth.
Right.
I always forget that. It's supposed to be automatic, I thought.
The newer ones are, and honest to God, it works maybe 60% of the time for me. If my phone is nearby, sometimes it goes to my phone and I have to manually put it on my iPad. Today, when I logged in, it said to me, "Oh, your AirPods are nearby," and I did have to click the connect button.
Oh, I didn't get anything on this time, but these are the new. These aren't the. I don't know what version they are, but they're not the original version.
No, mine aren't either. Mine aren't the newest
Pro,
either.
I think they're
but
called Pro.
they are pros, and
Yeah.
there's a pro upgrade since I got these, but that has, like, I don't know, but these are the ones that are noise canceling, so I like them a lot. And
Yeah,
they're more
mine are
comfortable.
too, but I never use the noise canceling.
All right, so I'm gonna share my screen and show you what I
Okay.
did, and then if we need to, let's see, I think I have to do desktop.
So Greg did a little Googling and I did a little Googling and I found there's a setting somewhere, but he doesn't, Tim Gray talked about syncing, syncing a virtual copy with an original copy, but there's a setting somewhere, but I could not for the life of me find it. And he doesn't tell you where to find it.
Well, and it's possible when we get to preferences, something will come up because we'll
Yeah.
dive pretty deep into it,
Yeah.
but it's a couple weeks away. So, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So I'm just gonna take, what did I do? Oh, I think that I did it in a different one. And I don't, in order to do what you want to do, you don't have to make, at least in the way my preferences work, I don't need to make a virtual copy. So if I go here, this is let's go into the develop module. Have I done anything to this? I have. See, I've done a few things in here in my history. So I have a few things. It's not the original. Well, it's never the original raw because I always do lens correction on import. So I must have done, you know what? I did reset settings. So I didn't do that. So let's just go back to that. And I'll make a couple of changes that seem obvious. I don't know what yet. All right, well, there's definitely changes in there. Maybe I'll do like make this a little stronger just so we can see. Well, I don't want to do that. I want to make changes. All right, I'm just going to do that. So then what I do is right click, go into edit in Photoshop. I don't make a virtual copy and it comes back with a second copy. So I don't need a virtual copy.
Yeah. But what I'm talking about is making a virtual copy because I want to make a different version of the same image. Say I want to do a black and white of this image.
And you're going to stay in.
I would
do the black and white
in Lightroom.
You're going to make a black and white in Lightroom. You're not going into Silver FX Pro or Topaz or anything else.
Because I think I would.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It just came to me.
All right. So if you just want to do a virtual copy and we want to make this a black and white, right?
No, you want to go into Photoshop.
Well, but you said that
I
you
want to make
wanted
I want to make a virtual copy of, oh, I see what you're talking about. Okay,
You
sure,
want-
we'll
'cause
make it black and white, and then we'll take it into Photoshop and do something that, I don't know what, that I wouldn't normally do in Lightroom, let's say. This isn't a good example.
we can add a texture, let's say. We can just add a
Okay.
texture.
Okay.
But so, I mean, if you have this original picture and you want to turn it into a black and white, where would you turn it into a black and white?
Well, I'd probably do it here because it would be
Okay.
a second version. And then I would
But-
go into Photoshop because I want to do something in Photoshop that I can't do in Lightroom, like put a layer on of a texture.
All right, because let's just go, I'm gonna bring this into Lightroom. I mean, into Photoshop. Okay, so here's the black and white version. I'm just gonna show you this first. Let's say you want to do something in here. Let's say you want to take it, and I always make a duplicate copy here. Maybe I want to do it in Nick for some reason, right?
Okay.
So I go to Nick Silver Effects Pro. Where is it? There it is, right? Did I do that right? And it's
No.
going to open it up. I didn't.
I think you were in the raw processor or something. Oh, maybe.
I'm not going to install it. Sharpener. I went to sharpener.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
cancel. Yeah, I thought I had a feeling I wasn't in the right one. Nick Silver Effects Pro. Here we go. And it probably needs an update too, because they just seem to update a lot. I don't know, I don't pay attention to my emails, and then I get an update. And the first time I come in here, like, oh, you need an update. All right, so here we go. So I did it on that one, and I do like a high structure, let's say, and I do whatever I'm gonna do here, and I apply it. So that's that. And then maybe I go to Topaz, because we're gonna take a layer away. So I'm gonna do something else to it. And I think I need I think still Nick uses the layer, it makes it its own layer, but I don't think Topaz does. And I do get those confused. So Topaz Labs Studio. And I'm going to swap these later. I'm going to swap the layers later. Let's add a look. Let's do something crazy like this, just because I don't really care. That's not gonna help me. I don't want a charcoal filter. It sort of doesn't matter because it's going to be a black and white anyway. I wanted to do something else that showed. All right, let's do this one. It's still not color. How do I get rid of that? Charcoal to impression, delete. Okay. All right, and I'm going to accept that. But on here, I'm going to put the Silver Effects Pro on top. Okay. And now we can't see that layer? That doesn't make sense. All right, let's delete this. And where was I going to now? Topaz Studio. I could have just done something. Which one did we do? Oh, I just want it to look different. Okay, accept. All right, so now when I close, I know a lot of people go to file. I just X this. And I get the save right here and I save it.
Right.
And I automatically go back to Lightroom.
Right.
So this was my original, right?
Yes.
This is the original right here.
Yeah.
We made it black and white and brought it into Lightroom, but I took a virtual copy. Right? This one was the
Yeah.
virtual copy, right? That's the black and
Yeah.
white. Okay. So this was the virtual copy. And I have to get rid of this Helicon thing, but I'm gonna go and rename this just so we're
So in my computer,
hold on.
okay.
Where's my rename?
Um,
Right here.
yeah.
This was number 5. Oh, I don't know what number it was. I'm just going to virtual copy. All right. So now we're going to go back in here because this is what you're doing. You go, okay, I made a change on this. I don't want this change. I'm going to go back and change it. So I'm going to edit this in Photoshop. Yeah, we're going to edit the original because that way it brings your layers back.
Right. But that's not a virtual copy though.
It was a virtual copy.
No, it started, the black and white was a virtual copy. This one is not a virtual copy.
Ah, okay. I guess I just wanted to show you that we took this picture and I went into Photoshop and I made it a black and white and then I added the topaz and I came back and I have my original and I have my, this isn't the virtual copy. You're right. You're right.
So there's got to be a setting somewhere in my computer that I can't find, because if I took that black and white picture and as a virtual copy and brought it into Photoshop, when I brought it back into Lightroom, I'm pointing to your pictures like you can see it, but the color, the original color one would also have whatever changes I made in the Photoshop copy to the virtual copy of what I made in Photoshop.
All right, so tell me what you want to do and we'll make that happen. Tell me what your process is. Here's the original picture.
Okay, so I take this picture and I say, do whatever adjustments you do in Lightroom. You would do basic adjustments,
which I have.
And
here's my adjustments, some control, exposure, blah blah blah.
Okay, make a virtual copy of that,
right,
and go to edit in Photoshop.
Right, let me look at
the virtual.
It hasn't popped up yet.
Yeah,
I have to be patient sometimes.
Yeah, me too.
I think I made a virtual copy of this and then converted it to black and white, so I could have used this one. But here it is.
Okay, so we're in Photoshop. No, we're not. Here's your Lightroom. Okay, now.
Hold on. I'm just gonna. Why did that stack? I don't know where my virtual copy is. It didn't come back.
Huh, I thought.
All right, so I'm gonna go back. I know it's here. I'm gonna use this one. I'll go back to the beginning. Now
okay, there it is. There it is.
No, it's
You're
not.
on it.
I just
no, it's got a little.
No, I know. This is the original one that I converted into black and white, changed the contrast. I just went back to that stage, the create virtual copy stage.
So there's the virtual copy.
And I want to go in here. I just want to get rid of this.
Lightroom.
Don't save. Okay. All right. So there's the virtual copy because we have the copy, and we're going to edit in
Photoshop, and just let's just take that corner above the fence and do something weird to it. I don't care what you do to it, like turn it purple or yellow or whatever. Just something that we can see. And if this works on your computer, then there's some setting in my computer that I can't find.
Okay, so I turned it red.
Now do that, and now say, okay, fine, save, back to Lightroom.
Here's the one that's coming back to Lightroom, and it's making it its own copy. See how I'm going to have 4 of them now?
Yeah.
This is the original. That's the copy. And now I have it set up so when I round, what I call it round tripping from
Yeah.
Photoshop, from Lightroom to Photoshop and anything else in back, it makes a copy automatically. I don't have to do this virtual copy.
Okay, so there's something in my
And
settings.
it didn't change either my
Right.
original or my virtual copy.
Okay.
Because there's a virtual copy.
Yep. There's something.
You can either call Adobe and see what they can figure out. You can have them take over your computer, or we can wait till we get to preferences and see.
Yeah.
But I do want to show you, and again, it could be this could be a Photoshop preference, or it could be a Lightroom preference. It could be a Photoshop preference, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I think it's best to call Adobe.
Yeah.
But I don't make virtual copies unless I'm only doing a second version within Lightroom.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And even then, what I'm reading, and I never use it, is that you can do the snapshots versus a virtual copy.
I started reading about that too.
And I'll do more research on it, but so I'll get
There's
rid of
advantages.
this.
There's advantages to snapshots. The advantage to snapshots is that you have the entire history up until the point you took the snapshot. And no matter what happens, it's always there. So you could go and do something in Photoshop and come back to Lightroom, and you still have the original Lightroom image that you had up until the snapshot was taken.
So, and you can take that snapshot and you can export it. It's a full image. You can use that version to do anything you would do with it. That was what I thought was the case, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, that's the way I understand it. So, I guess really the only reason to use virtual copies is if you're going to just do versions, like you want to do a black and white, you want to do a pink and purple, you want to do, whatever.
Exactly.
So I guess I should not deal with virtual copies in Photoshop. That'll just solve my problem, I guess. But the picture I was talking about,
maybe it will change your original. Do you want, what time is it? We have a couple minutes. Do you want to share your screen and try to do it? We have like 10 minutes, maybe not even. No, maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, probably not. That won't be enough time because I'm prepared to show you.
Right.
I don't have something set up like the one that I had. I can't find it to save my soul that I did, and I can't find the original. I can't find the Photoshop version. I can't find it. And I don't even, so anyway, I can show you that next time. I can try and recreate something and show you what happens.
Stop sharing.
Thank you anyway.
No, it's okay. Jean Baptista had emailed me because I guess she was watching the video from 2 weeks ago. And she said, my Lightroom doesn't, I can read the thing to you. She goes, my Lightroom doesn't look anything to what your Lightroom. She's watching the video recording and trying to follow along. And let me read what she said. Whoops, maybe she did. She just emailed me back, but let's see, Jean.
What version is she on?
Well, that's it. She goes, I'm trying to watch the video from the first Lightroom SIG class and ran into a problem right away. My version of Lightroom, first of all, looks different from yours, and I believe I'm on the latest version. Did you have to select something in order to get to the Lightroom Classic version of the application to display? Secondly, I went looking for a file, new catalog option in the file menu, but it wasn't there, simply not listed at all. Are catalogs and albums the same? Already confused. Thanks for your assistance. So I said, that was my answer to her.
Well, albums are on Lightroom, not Lightroom Classic.
Right. Well, that's what I think she's in. I think she's in Lightroom Creative Cloud, not
Yeah.
Lightroom Classic. So I answered her. Let me see what I answered.
Because that would
Well,
be, it would not, definitely would not look anything like yours if she's in Lightroom CC.
let's see, I answered her twice. So I said the latest version of Lightroom Classic is 12.1 Adobe Creative Cloud. I'm on a Mac. I mean, maybe she's on a PC too. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
And found that by clicking on, well, anyway, I answered her, and what does she say now? She just replied. Now she's still confused because she's saying, yes, it's part of the Creative Cloud subscription. But that's not what I mean. There's two applications. Oh, she's in Creative Cloud. She's not in Classic. She works on a PC. I'll reply right now real quick, and then I have people waiting. The screenshot is Lightroom Creative Cloud. I'm going to tell her to go back and watch the video because I explained the difference, right, between Creative Cloud and Classic. Didn't I explain that
I
last
think
week?
so. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I use the Lightroom Creative Cloud, I guess you'd call it. I call it Lightroom Mobile, but
Right.
I use that on my iPad. I don't use that on my computer.
Yeah, I have. If I'm on my computer, I do. If I'm going to send somebody a link to their album, like for a shot,
yeah.
you know, I can do it. I can do the same anyway. I can do it either way. Let's see. The screenshot. This screenshot is your screenshot. I should say your screenshot is Lightroom Creative Cloud. In your subscription, you get Lightroom Creative Cloud, Lightroom Classic, Photoshop, and other things. All right, I'm going to open this up. 2 people have entered the waiting room. Miriam
All right, well,
Klein.
thanks, Joni.
Oh, you're welcome.
Appreciate it.
And you know, we can do this again another time too if you find something that you want to do that.
Okay, thanks.
Like if you find a picture that it happened to and you want to show me what you did, or if you just want to go through the process,
Yeah.
then that's fine. Hi, Mickey.
Okay.
Oh, I can't hear you.
You're muted.
Hi, Mary.
Good evening. Is that better?
Hi. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear now. How are you?
I'm here.
Good.
That's always a
That's
good
good to
thing.
hear.
I'm here too. Beth, is Greg going to join us tonight?
Not tonight. I don't know when he's going to, but he actually did upgrade to Classic.
Yeah, you
So-
told me, or he did. Hi, Mary.
But his catalog is all in order now. He figured it out all by himself. So
Wow.
I guess, yeah. Well, with a little help from Tim Gray, I guess.
So do you guys belong to, like, you get a subscription to him, Greg? Because, or you just read Pixel magazine?
No, just pick,
Or go on
and
YouTube.
the I signed up for his Ask Tim Gray question thing. And
Oh, yeah. That's not
he'll
part
do-
of his newsletter? That's a separate
I think
email?
yeah, it's a separate email. And so Greg got his catalog in order. He got his catalog in order. Mine still isn't in order after 10 years working with.
Wow, that's pretty good. Because what was he on, 5?
Yeah. Yep.
which I think they only went up to Lightroom 6 before they did, you had to get the Creative Cloud version. I think 6
Yeah.
was the last one, if I remember. I
Yeah,
don't
it
think it was a
was.
7.
I think I have somewhere in my house somewhere, I think I have the version 6 on the disc.
Oh, you do? Because I think
I
I was
think so.
I think I was downloading it. I don't think I bought, I don't even know if I might have bought Photoshop, with Elements.
Oh,
I might have only
maybe I'm
had Elements.
thinking, I bought Photoshop Elements and then I went to Photoshop. One of them I know I still had on disc. Maybe it was Photoshop 6 I was on with the disc.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's
So, I
been, I
don't
mean,
know.
I went on the subscription like right away.
Yeah. I avoided it for a while, just on principle. But
I know, but the upgrades like came right. Oh, you know what? I don't think I had Lightroom. Well, now I don't remember. I don't think I had Lightroom to the subscription. I don't think I did.
oh, I definitely had Lightroom before the subscription. I
Yeah.
didn't have, I had Photoshop Elements, I think, but not, I had Lightroom 4, 5, and 6, I think. But it's been a long time anyway.
We're going to Disney in April, and so we're trying to make a date for Kim and my daughter-in-law Leanne and I to get together because we can start making our reservations soon. I'm wide open
Nice.
after. All right, because we don't need to all be together all the time.
Right.
But when we want to do things together, I'm getting in a day earlier so I can make the reservations for all of us a
Mhm.
day earlier than they can.
Yeah.
Did you get a lot of snow in Boston?
No, I mean, it snowed pretty hard for a while, but nothing really, I don't know how much accumulated, but it was very slushy. Greg said about 2 inches, I think.
Yeah, that we probably got between maybe 2 and 3.
It was snowing like it really meant it, like
I
it was
know.
something was gonna come of it, but no,
I know.
nothing real.
It's heavy, wet snow.
Yeah.
So I froze some flowers in ice cube, some squares and some round spheres. And my plan was to go out while there was snow out there and take them with my arborvitae trees are way in the back. So I thought it'd be a nice blur for it. I was out there. I'm going to import those pictures tonight, although just because there's not that many of them. But I thought my camera was getting soaking wet out there.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
getting soaking wet. I had to redo my hair.
Oh.
But it's fine.
Yeah. I have some spheres that have been in the freezer since lockdown. I just keep forgetting to pull them out and see what kind of condition they're in.
The flowers?
Yeah.
The flowers and spheres? Oh,
Yeah.
good for you.
Yeah. And then I had squares too, but I haven't used the square recently. But the spheres are still sitting in the freezer, taking up space. I need to.
Well, they don't
Take 'em
take up
out.
that much space. Just that, don't have Greg go get a bourbon or whiskey one night.
Yeah,
He goes
right.
to open up oh, that's gonna add a little fragrance to my drink.
Yep.
Hi, Andrea. I know you're there, but I can't see or hear you.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Hey, not a lot of people coming on, huh?
Well, still before 7.
Yeah, but I had said I'd open it up at about 10 minutes ahead of time so people could chat. At least I did the first week. I assume
Yeah.
people would know that this week too.
The important people are here, Joni.
Oh, thank you. Well, we have 3 more minutes before. And it's being recorded. This whole thing is being, actually, Beth, everything got recorded. Everything you and I were doing a little while ago.
Oh, geez.
Good thing we didn't say anything about Andrea, huh?
Yeah, really. Or Mickey. Or Mary.
Or anybody.
Yeah.
How about you, Andrew? Did you get a lot of snow today?
No, I think we got about like 2 inches.
Yeah. South Shore
But-
doesn't, oh,
It
Always
came
very
in
much.
pretty fast. And it
Yeah,
was
ours do
Yeah.
too.
Mickey, where do you live?
We live in Wellesley.
Oh, so you probably didn't
Right
get
on.
it too bad either.
Not bad at all.
Andrew, you need some more light. You're in the dark.
I just put it on. Well,
Oh,
I was,
there you
I
go.
was
Oh, there
getting
you
my
go.
tea. I was
Oh.
getting my tea. I spent most of the day doing my homework from the flower class.
Yeah,
Oh, this is your second time around on that one, huh?
Yeah, well, this one was really good. I don't think I quite achieved it, but I probably did 8 different versions and it took probably 4 hours, but I had fun doing it. And I don't do a
Yeah.
lot of the homework because it's a lot of stuff I can't do. It's too much Photoshop. So this was something I could do. I said, you push yourself and do it.
yeah,
Did you guys need a passcode when you logged in tonight?
yes.
No.
Yes,
Yes.
And the passcode was in the email I sent you?
Yeah,
it was in the first one with the whole list.
Oh, so Aaron didn't do that one, so I have to go back and look at the passcode for her. I know what it is. It's in my Zoom here. I'll give it to her. I think because she didn't log in the first time, the first week we had it.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Hi, Dick.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good.
Hi, Leo. Hi, Lois.
Hey, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening.
I'm doing some technical difficulties with people. Helping people out. Let's cancel that. Go here. Anybody waiting in the waiting room? Yep, Leah. Frank just came in. There's Erin. She got in. Hi, Frank.
Frank. Hi, Leo.
I don't
Hello.
know if
Hello.
everybody survived the snow.
Yeah,
Kinda.
Well, I did read that there were some power outages today, so I was like, oh, I hope.
oh, wow.
First of all, I hope I don't lose power. That would cancel the whole meeting, but
So yeah, thank you, Joni, for sending the passcode. Do we have to register for everyone?
I don't know. Did you
No, I
guys have to
think
register just
if you,
once,
I
right?
think if you register just once, because there's a whole list of them on that first one. and
Right.
I think it will just register all of them. And then you put them in your you can put it, there's a place where you can put it into your calendar.
Well,
Oh,
right,
right.
but
Okay.
so I should be including the passcode every week because unless you save that first email, you might not have the passcode. You're saying you do need it every week, Beth?
You don't have to, well, yes, you do.
Okay, all right.
Um,
That's what I thought. I
yeah.
did it that way, but I'm not on your end of it, so I wasn't 100% sure. I want to be where John Gill is. It looks like Aruba to me.
Ah, looks nice.
I don't
He's
know.
got you're
you're
muted.
muted.
John. He's got a nice ritual.
Evening, everyone.
Hi,
Hi, Alan.
Alan. Let's see
I
if
have
can
to
ask-
say, based on John's vest, he isn't really there.
no,
Right.
he's definitely not.
He wishes he was there.
Yeah, yeah. I should get my little palm tree rainbow picture up too. Maybe make you feel better. Yeah.
Hi, Leah. You're
Ah, she's-
muted.
It's all good. Hi, Nanda. Hi, Ginny.
Hi, Nanda.
I don't think I even
everybody's
said hi to
muted.
Lo. I know. And in a few minutes, we're gonna start pretty soon. It's a little after 7 now. I don't think this is gonna need the whole 2 hours tonight, to be honest with you. But there are a few people popping in, so and Frank, you can monitor it for me if I need to, right?
Yeah, I'll watch the participants.
only because I'm gonna go into, I'm sharing my screen now. And hey, welcome back, everybody. Nice to see so many of you. We are recording already. I will ask you all now to mute and stop your video because it does slow down the system in general. And if we have time, obviously, if there's any time you have a question, put it in the chat. Frank is going to monitor chat for me. And every once in a while, I need to check my notes and make sure I didn't miss anything, and maybe take a sip of water, and I'll ask Frank if there are specific questions. So this worked out really well last time. I thought we moved along quite well. I'm basically going to be demonstrating. This week we're doing importing images into Lightroom Classic. I did have one person email me this week that she was opening her Lightroom Creative Cloud. The Lightroom Creative Cloud is basically a mobile, well, you can have it on your phone, you can have it on your iPad or tablet, and you can have it in the desktop, but it's a completely different animal and looks completely different. And let me start sharing screen. Can everybody see my screen right now? It's the Zoom thing.
I can see it.
Right, we can
Okay.
see it fine.
So can you see my cursor when I'm circling something?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm on my desktop. I have open all the time, and I'm a Mac user. This LrC, that's Lightroom Classic, and that's what we're using. This Lightroom is Lightroom Creative Cloud, and it looks vastly different. I'll open it up right now. And basically, it's just all of your images that you've put into a collection, which we haven't done collections yet. You certainly can edit your pictures here. You can do almost all the same edits in Lightroom Creative Cloud that you can do in Lightroom Classic. But you can't import pictures into Lightroom Creative Cloud, and you can export them, but you can't import them. And I'm just hoping that'll open up, and we'll take a quick look at that. But Lightroom Classic is where we are. Our SIG is all about Lightroom Classic. Okay, so let's get out of this and get into, hold on, here we go. On the left here are all of my collections for various reasons. And so within these collections, everyone's seen this picture, you can do edits to these, and I'm not going to because I don't want to change it. You can do all the same edits that you can do in Lightroom. You just can't input images into Lightroom Creative Cloud or Lightroom CC. It is a different animal. We'll get to it later on in the SIG, but where we're doing all of our work is in this Lightroom Classic. So you have to go either into you open up your Adobe and look at your apps and open it from here. If you've never opened it before, if you've never ever gone to it, or in your applications folder on your computer, it's a different place in Mac. I don't know the Apple, excuse me, the PC version, but you would go into applications and you would find it. Okay. So I'm just going to make a real quick review because I think it's an important concept. And we talked about it last time, was the difference between your catalog and your library and your images, where your images are. Hold on, get rid of this. And I put up, geez, I don't want this up. And I put up this picture to remind us the old card catalog. So these index cards, you go, if you wanted to look at a book in a library, you'd go to your catalog, this piece of furniture, and you'd look by author's name or book title, and they're stored alphabetically, and you'd find the name of the book in one of these cards, and then it would tell you where in the library, in that building, is the book. Well, the Lightroom catalog is like that. This is a library of all of the images that you've brought in to this building. And in our building, we just have the one. I just have one hard drive, external hard drive, and this is where my pictures are stored. All of these images are in over, let's see, these ones are in this external hard drive right here. So this is where my photos are stored in these folders. It's New York City. So here's the images that you see in my film strip. So they are stored there on that external hard drive. And my catalog is stored on my Macintosh hard drive in a folder system. My master catalog is right here. The Lightroom SIG is right here. And I know where it is because I know how I stored it. But if you don't know where yours is, if you go into on the top menu, like Lightroom Classic, you go into catalog settings under the general tab, it shows you the breadcrumbs, how to get. So I would go to my Macintosh internal hard drive under users, Joni Rich Pictures, Master Catalog, Lightroom SIG. And if you click on this, it'll bring you right to the Lightroom SIG. And there's my catalog right there. Does anybody have any confusion about the difference between where your catalog is stored and what a catalog is, and that your photos are completely separate? It's an important distinction because if you ever move your pictures outside of in the catalog, if I move this picture right now into this folder, let's do the grid. And I'm moving it by clicking on the center of the picture, and I'm taking this out of the base folder and putting it in progress. So I moved it here. It's also moved on my hard drive. It's not in, oh, look at there. Oh, that's a different version of it. It's in progress. It's there. If I take this picture and move it, if I take this picture and move it back into the folder, I didn't do it in Lightroom. I'm going to get a little warning here on this picture. Well, it's not even there. It's here now. This is a rectangle. And that's only because this is actually has a smart preview. I can actually edit this image, but I'm only doing it to the smart preview. It's not the full image. It's just a preview of the image. It's not the actual image. If you didn't have a smart preview, your icon here would be a exclamation point. And if I go here, if I right click on the picture, I should be able to locate show in Finder. Oh, I don't know where that picture really is. It's going to locate it for me. And it's right here. So I click on it and now it's back in the base folder. I went a little quickly because it's not what we're really talking about today, but I just want to show you the importance of making sure if you're going to move this picture, move it in Lightroom. Don't move it on your desktop, in your folders, wherever you keep your photos. We good?
Yep.
Let's see. Okay, so someone asked about sharing my backup strategy. That's going to happen. Backup strategy. We did this a little bit last week. I have a separate external hard drive called Lightroom Backup, and I've told my Lightroom catalog when I close out of it, every time Lightroom's exit, I want to get a choice of whether I'm going to back it up or not. And I'll skip this time, but I hit backup, then whatever changes I made to this catalog since the last time I opened it and the last time I backed it up will get stored in this hard drive. I'm going to skip it this time. And in this hard drive, if I ever have a problem and I lose my catalog, here's a copy of my catalog right here, and I can restore it from this backup. And you technically only need to have 3 or 4 backups. I clean them out fairly regularly. So let me open this again.
Johnny, actually, I was asking about backup of your pictures, not backup of the catalog. But again, it doesn't have to be discussed today. It can be done at any time when you feel it.
So I have my pictures on separate hard drives, mostly by year. And then I have Backblaze that backs those up, which is an offsite system. It's if I had a problem with one of my hard drives, if it failed, I would go to Backblaze and I back them up once a month. I'd go to Backblaze and they would send me a hard drive with my pictures that it's copied by them, and I pay an annual fee for that. Okay, so now today we're going to really talk about importing images. So I'm took a few pictures this morning. I had another bunch of pictures that I was going to bring in, but this is less because it was snowing out. I just put my card reader, my SD card into a card reader, and you see automatically our screen just changed. This is the import dialog box, and these are the images. And I can do that again just to show you because it kind of happened quickly. There is a setting that if yours doesn't automatically open to the import box when you insert a card, I'll show you where the setting is for that. I have to go find it. In Lightroom preferences, general. In this dialog, there's an import option. You have to check off show show import dialog when a memory card is detected. So this first option you want to have checked in order for that to happen automatically. And this is the folder in my card where my pictures are. So I don't have a lot of photos here. I only have 17 photos, so it shouldn't take long to import them. Like we discussed last week, there are panels here. So we have the left panel, we have the top panel, we have the right panel, and we have our library preview of images. And like when you're in library, you can do an individual image, single image, or you can do the grid view on the bottom. All of these images came in checked, like I want to import them all, but you have a choice of unchecking them all and just checking the images that you want to, or check them all and I can see, I don't want this one, I don't want that one, I don't need to import those two. Obviously I clicked the camera, I think I was going in and out of my screen door and my camera was on and my thumb took a picture. On the left side is going to be where your pictures are coming from. What's the source? And you can see this is my card is the Nikon Z6 II. But here's my Macintosh internal hard drive. Here's the external hard drives that I have attached to the computer right now. And after we import from a card, I'll go back and we'll import some photos because from let's say maybe you have pictures on your hard drive already or in another external hard drive or internal, and you want to bring them into this new catalog. The screens will look slightly different. Not a big difference, but a little bit different. So you can choose all photos or just new photos. In this case, they all happen to be new. And there's something with destination folders. Honestly, I've never done group photos by destination, so I'm not sure what that's about. You can copy them as a DNG or copy them period. And I don't like the DNG so much myself, it's just me. And when you're taking them from a card reader, moving and adding are not an option. Those are grayed out. So I'm going to take my pictures from my card reader. I'm going to copy them. I'm going to choose the images that I want to bring in. I don't want these two, so I uncheck them. And this is the more complicated part, the right-hand side. There's 4 different tabs here. And just like we did last week in the right and left folders, if you right click and go into solo mode, you probably want to keep all of these, expand all of them. I would think you want to expand all of them, but you want to keep them on solo mode. I want to keep them on solo mode so that if I just have one of, oh, I just turned it off. So I only have one of these open at a time. As I close one, as I open one, the other one, the open one automatically closes. So file handling. This is how do we want to handle these files when we import them? I do typically build smart previews. Smart previews are good if you are traveling and you want to have your catalog with you, whether it's in Dropbox and you move it to an external hard drive, however you want to bring your catalog with you, you can edit your pictures even if the photos on the external hard drives that have the photos are not with you. You can do all your editing, and then when you get back home, you'll sync your editing that you did on the smart previews onto the actual images. Again, it's not something we need to cover tonight, so it will take a little longer to import. But if you typically take your catalog and you edit images on the road, let's say, or in some other location, you might want to build smart previews. I skipped build these previews. There's 4 different choices in building regular previews. Minimal and embedded, I would never ever use. And the biggest reason, without telling you the difference, is that if you have a corrupted image on your SD card, this will not recognize it and will import it, and you won't know if you have a corrupted image or not. Standard are smaller files and they'll go faster. One-to-one ratio helps me if I want to edit right away, because it makes the image, it brings the image up faster when I'm editing. If I do standard, there's always a little bit of pause and hesitation while you're editing. So it goes a little faster. Now the one-to-one takes up, the file size is a little bit bigger, takes up a little bit more storage. And after 30 days, the one-to-one, it goes away and becomes a standard. So it's only there temporary space. So usually I would click, so I do one-to-one. Usually I would click smart previews. I'm just not going to do it tonight. I always check don't import suspected duplicates, because I don't, if I've already loaded this card with these images before, I don't want to do it again. If you want to make a second backup copy to a different, maybe you're going to import them to your internal hard drive and you also want to copy on an external hard drive, you can check off make a second copy here, and you can choose the folder that you want to put them in, wherever that may be. Maybe I'll put them on my internal hard drive, and I'll choose pictures, and I'll make a new folder here, which I'm not going to do, but I'm just showing you, you could put them here and import them. You can do them in 2 places. I don't make a second copy because I have the Backblaze. So that's how you handle that. That's the file handling section. Any questions on that? This is really going fast. Am I going too fast?
I just want to mention that build smart previews automatically generates DNG files if you select that.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. You're right.
Yeah, it's a compressed version of the picture.
See? I knew that. And it's funny because I do know that my files are DNG, but I don't copy them as DNG, and that's why. Okay. And that was a change, I want to say, like a couple of years ago. I don't think it was always like that. I was getting my original NEF files until recently, or maybe because I started building smart previews because I was going to the Cape and I wanted to be able to edit there sometimes. That might be what it is. That helps. Thank you, Fred.
Johnny, and if the pictures on the camera on a card is usually in a raw format, so does it automatically convert into DNG?
Yes, but DNG is a raw format. You're not losing any information.
Well, I just thought that raw DNG is a universal format, and the raw format is different for each camera system, like Canon and
True.
Nikon are different.
Correct. But I think like when I export them, I'm typically not, I mean, that's never been an issue. I'm usually exporting as a JPEG. I mean, maybe a TIFF, but rarely. So that I'm not usually exporting as a RAW anyway. They're only from my use in Lightroom. So I don't think it's making a difference.
I always import them as RAW, and then only when I export it's JPEGs.
That's what I'm saying. You only export as JPEGs.
Correct, of course.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think there's any difference between having it as a DNG or not. I mean, I don't know. That's a level of technical level that I'm just not familiar with the benefits of it. Maybe Fred can expand since he brought it up.
That's okay. I will Google it. I can do it. Thank you.
Well, for everybody else too. I don't know. Like I didn't even realize that's what that was going on. So I learned something. Thank you. File renaming. So your camera gives your photo a name, and as you can see, these are Z6. It's something I did within my camera. This is 504 and a .NEF. The extension is the Nikon format for RAW. But I don't want to name these images. I don't want to keep these names in my catalog. They're hard to search. I'm not going to remember. And I think if after your camera goes, at least I think Nikon, I think it's 9,999 images, it'll go back to one. So you would.
But it'll change the letters, the first three letters.
Okay, I'll
Depends on your
trust you on that.
camera.
Yeah.
I have it as an advanced, so it starts off as AAA, and then it goes
Right.
AAB.
Right. I know you can do that that's in your camera. But I tend to change the name of my images for search purposes in here anyway. So there's a lot of things you can do. You can just give it a custom name, period. And now all these are going to have the custom name. But I think that you can use the custom name and the original file number. At least that gives you a number. But I do a version of custom name and sequence. So I might name these flower ice cubes. And it'll be 1 through however 15 pictures I think I'm importing. Now, because of my file system and how I organize it, I don't even think that's good enough. Because I organize them by date, I've set up a preset that I call Joni Standard. And there's other ways you can do it. And I'm going to show you how to make your own preset. But I have Joni Standard preset. Now, when I do Joni Standard preset, I still include a custom text. I want a custom name to this flower ice cubes. It's going to start with sequence number 1. Maybe I did 15 now and I don't like any of these pictures. So I go back tomorrow and I take 25 more pictures and I want to add them to this folder. I have to be careful not to do number 1. I'd have to start at number 16 tomorrow because I have 15 and I'm going to add them and it'll overwrite the pictures. So I'm going to start at number 1 this time. And you can see a sample of how the name is going to come out. So this first picture is going to be 2023_1 for January, flower ice cubes, number 1 picture, .NEF. How did I make this preset? Let's see. let's do custom. If you go up at the top and do custom, you get a file name template editor and you can edit this. You can change the name here. By clicking on save as a new preset and you put the name there. I'm not going to save it. I'm going to still call it Joni Standard. And then I'm going to delete each of these and show them how I did it. Each of these areas you can add into this box and it sets up a template. I typically start, the first thing I like to see is the year. So I'm going to go down to the date and click on it and do a 4-digit year. And then I do an underscore. So I'm going to physically type in underscore. And then I like the month. So I'm going to do date and a 2-digit month. And I'm going to do underscore again. I can type. And now I'm going to do custom text. You can do shoot name or custom text. So I'm going to insert custom text. And then I'm going to choose a sequence number up to 3, because I don't typically, up to 4, I don't typically shoot more than 1,000 pictures in a shoot. I might do a couple hundred. I'm going to cancel that because I don't want to change anything. I already have it. But this is how my year comes in, underscore, the month, the custom name, and the sequence number. So that's my preset. Any questions on that?
I don't have a question on that in general. I was wondering if there's any way to make the writing larger. I have a little magnifying glass so I can see the screen better. Just a question, it's not a big deal. It's me and my eyes.
You mean how can I make this bigger for you?
Yes.
I don't know how to do that.
Okay. All right, like I said, I've got my magnifying glass and my
don't-
nose touching the screen. Thank you.
John, you
Sorry.
may want to change the font for the computer, for the display to an extra larger. Not Lightroom, just in general.
Joni, when you import them with that information, does that show up in keywords or somewhere else?
No, on
Okay.
the actual image, when you click on an individual image, that's where we're going to get to keywords, but that's where this we'll import them. You'll see them.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so now I've got my files named. What are we going to do during import? You can do nothing. You don't have to do anything during import. I happen to like to do lens correction. So I go down to optics, lens correction and chromatic aberrations, and I always apply that to all my images. And then in the metadata, I have a preset for Joni Rich Photography. And again, you can make your own preset. This preset for metadata, you can put as much metadata or as little metadata in there that you want. And this will show up on all of your images in library and develop. So maybe I make a copy. Oh, that's not a copyright. I forget what, I don't remember the symbol for copy. Let's do 2024 preset, which, I mean, I just made the 2020. Each one of these windows opens up and you can choose what you want to put in here. I'm going to go back to my 2023 and edit it so we can see what I did put in. I don't put a ton in there. I don't put my name or website or anything like that. I do put my name. Why isn't it there? Oh, I'm so confused already. Sorry, folks. There we go. Because I didn't have my preset up there. All right, I'm going to go back and do that again. Go up here, edit preset. edit 2023. Okay, that's what we have.
Why wouldn't
we
you want the
need-
rest of the information on there for yourself?
I just, if I don't know who can get this, like, I don't put my telephone number, my address and all that.
You know, you could strip it out as you're transferring it onto your website or something. But I'd like to put it all on because you get these files that are floating out there that at least have your name and phone number on it, so the copyright's there.
I put my email here. My email is there. I put a copyright status, my name, my email, and my website, which I just took down. So I'm going to do the Lightroom website. So I have to take that out, actually. And I have keywords that will be embedded when I make them. Like in this one, I can add flowers, ice cubes, but you have to be careful. I add more keywords later on, but you can put some keywords here on import here too. All of these things are individual choices. And so you just open these up and check what you want to put in. And I'll show you some of the stuff automatically goes in the metadata anyway. So copyright and keywords are what I use.
Joni, when you put the keywords there and you save it,
yeah,
you're gonna put them on every single one of them after
right.
that, unless you change it though.
Right, that's true. So I'm only, like, let's say, you know, I have, I want to put purple or yellow or something else in here. I could do it on individual pictures. But if something applies to, the whole shoot, it's all in Falmouth, Mass, or all in Framingham, or whatever it is, I would put it there. Oh, I see what you're saying. That's going to go my next set of pictures.
Right.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. Good point. Put the keywords here. So flowers. Ice cubes.
I'm missing where the flower is. I just see a big blob.
Well, that's because you can't see it in here, but I know that they're there. So applying during import, I'm going to do my lens correction. I'm going to add my metadata, and I'm going to add some keywords. Any questions there?
You're going to save keywords, or are they saved without clicking on done? How do you know that the keywords are saved?
In the metadata, in this metadata, I didn't. I can take that out. Because Alan had a good point. Every time I use this preset, they would be in there for the next shoot, which may not be the same, which won't be the same subject. So I don't want that there.
No, where you just put the keywords, flower, ice cubes.
Right here?
Right here, yeah.
Yeah.
Are they saved automatically? You don't have to do anything to save them?
Nope, they'll be applied to each image during import. All of these things are things we're doing to the images on when we import them.
Thanks.
And then the destination is the list of all the places we took it from here. We took these pictures and we're going to put them where. So now here's your folder structure again, your internal hard drive, the external hard drives that I have, my time machine, my backup, and the card itself. They're all listed there. In my case, this is my 2022. I have a 2023 folder in here. And in that folder, I'm going to highlight it. What's up with that? It's important to note here that I put them into subfolders and into one folder. I'm sorry that we're having trouble with this slowed down spinning wheel of doom here. You have other choices, but if you don't put them into one folder, Lightroom will automatically separate. If you have 3 or 4 dates, you're on a trip and you've just been photographing for a few days, it'll put them in folders by date or original folders, which typically is by date, depending on your camera, I think. But I don't want it to do that. I just want to put them in one subfolder, and organize those into one folder. So the folder that I want is my 2023 folder, and I'm going to right click on that and create a new folder within 2023. So for Mac users, this is the system. I think PCs are a little bit different, but in my 2023 folder, I want to add a new folder. I did click it. There we go. I'm going to call this folder the same name that I called the image. I start off with 2023 _ January. What did I name them? Frozen flower cubes. What did I do it? Flower. I don't remember what I named them now. Of course, I can go this. Copy. Flower ice cubes. Right click, create new folder. New folder. 2023 _01 flower ice cubes. That's the name of the folder. Choose that. So now with that highlighted, now I can import my pictures. And it should be pretty quick because I didn't do smart previews. And there aren't that many pictures. So in the upper left-hand corner, you're going to see status bars. And as the pictures come into your folder, they present in the strip on the bottom. Now you can see the pictures are in, and now it's building the previews. And you can see in my 2022 hard drive, I now have a folder called Flower Ice Cubes. And the first picture is highlighted, so you can see it's the 2023 _01 January Flower Ice Cube 1. Did that answer your question, Andrea? And it's in the folder. It tells you what folder it's in. If I double click it, even while they're still, I think it's all done, but even while it's still importing, you can start, as long as that picture is showing up on the film strip, you can start looking at them, editing, and deciding what you want to do with them.
Okay.
But down here, again, I know that's small print, I apologize. But now we're in the library. Now they're all, I mean, these were the pictures we did last week that we were working on last week. In that hard drive and in this hard drive. So that's the import process. That's the basics anyway. And we really have a lot of time here, and I wasn't super prepared. I didn't go over all my notes for the organization, but we certainly can talk about organization. We have over an hour. Unless people want to
So Joni,
go over this some more. Yeah, please.
So a couple of things that I do a little bit different is
Which is fine.
No, I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Is that I let the file name stay with the dates, and then what I do is I enter any information on my files that's in my catalog already by making it, Hong Kong or San Francisco or LA, and it represents it on the side. So it's got the original date, and I don't put all that information in simply because it's automatically generated with the time and the date and the structure as it imports it.
So I'm already a little lost with what you're saying because maybe I'm more of a visual person, and we can either slow it down and you can show me what you mean. You point me to what to do, or if you have your Lightroom up and running right now, and if you want to take over the screen
No,
and
no,
show
I'm just
people a
trying to
different
say
way.
that there's a,
No.
there's
I-
other
but I-
ways. And what happens
Yes.
is that
there-
I don't
there's
go
tons
about,
of other ways.
yeah, there's tons of other ways. I just don't go about adding information that isn't already generated when it, you know, from the camera. Because it's
All right,
all of
so
that
say-
information is already in the camera.
Like what again? The file name?
The dates, the file names, the extraneous stuff. And
So for me, in my organization, I've just gotten used to this system and it works for me. And it's probably hard to tell because this is a small catalog, but if I go to my my full catalog that I use, which I'm going to do right now. This is why is that there? And I don't have all my hard drives connected right now either. And this might be a little bit slow because it's a large
they'll still
catalog.
show up.
Yeah,
So,
but they're not. So when I go in here, for me, this is useful for me, and then we're getting more into organization right now, but I name them that way so that I have this hard drive that I have photos from 2018 to 21, and all the years are listed here. And then I know, oh, even if I don't know, okay, wait a minute, I know in February of 2019, I know that I went to, or February, I went to Florida in February of 2019, I believe. Oh, no, it's 2020. Sorry, it was just before we shut down. And if I know I want to look at pictures from my birding trip to Florida, Florida birding trip, 2020. And again, we can use keywords to look up things too. But if I know I just want to, okay, I need some pictures for, you know, nature or something. Let me go back to some of these images and see if I like any of them now that I didn't like then, or maybe I didn't work on this or whatever. For me, this system, whatever your system is, and this we're talking about organization now, it's kind of leading into that. You'll get used to your system. Whatever you do it consistently.
Right. I'm just saying that you could
For
enter
me, this is
enter
how
the-
I organize it. So you're saying I don't need to name it that way because it's already in the folder?
Well,
Is that
no,
what you're
when you import it, it actually comes up with the date and the file name. And then
Okay.
you can go back into the left-hand side and rename it in the system.
Let me do it again, because that was, I'm going to import these into this catalog anyway, so I might as well. I just ejected the card and then took it out. I'll put it in.
Alan, are you saying you leave the file name like it comes out of the camera, but then you said you put in like Hong Kong or San Francisco. Do you do that in the keyword?
Nate, well, I do that too, but you could do it right there in your file system on the left-hand side by just adding and editing the actual file and adding the extra information. So let's
Okay.
just say that you did it today and you want to go back in and rename it. You just type, you know, hit the keyword and just rename it.
All right, so let me just start from the beginning. Let me just, because I know I'm confused. So if I'm confused, somebody else might be too. So
Alright.
I'm in my real catalog now, not my SIG catalog. And I ejected the card and re-put it in my card reader. So the import box came up automatically. Now we're in import. So now, what do you do when you import yours? Just walk me through the whole right-hand side.
I'm sorry, I didn't press the button. I make sure I have the right information by applying the keywords, but I just let the file name go into the system, and then afterwards, I would just go over to the left-hand side in the library and just change the date or add more information to the date. So I'm not changing it. You remember what you did? You tried to rename it and you forgot what it was?
Well, yeah, I don't usually do that.
Or you could have spelt it wrong, you know, so
And I
there's all
can
these
copy
things
it,
that
that's fine. Right, so tell me what you use in here for file naming when you import.
as the camera presents it,
So file name and sequence,
yes, that
or
comes in.
file name,
Yes.
period.
The file name period. And
Okay,
that gives you all the information that comes from the camera. And then I
And
also
then-
put in, I also put in keywords,
yeah, but that's down here.
right? So I also
don't
put in
do-
keywords.
Do you do any metadata?
I always have my own metadata, and each year I change the copyright date.
All right. And then your metadata,
Is all in, and I make sure that I have all of my information, my address, my phone numbers, my
right here.
Yeah, I put all of that in that I want to put in.
In this section.
Yeah, I put the creators,
Okay.
because I feel that if it goes somewhere, like we send stuff off to the NECCC, all of that will go along with it. And when you export it, you can
Yep.
say strip the metadata out. But in the meantime, all the metadata is embedded into the system as it's imported. all
So
of that,
how many times are you gonna strip this out? I mean, you could,
I would only strip it out to, like, if I send it to maybe Facebook or something, or
Right.
somebody, but I also would put a title on it with my copyright on it as well. But I would put all that information in because it embeds it into the file itself.
right. So you
But
do the
that just-
creator information. Do you do any of these other ones?
Um,
I mean,
I
this is
have-
generated too. This is generated.
So the problem is if you don't uncheck it, on the next import, all the stuff that you put in under Joni Rich Photography will go on to the next one and the next one and the next one. You got to
Right.
make sure. So it could be individual every time you do it individually, but for the most part, you could go back and redo that as a collection all at once. So let's just say that I did somebody's wedding.
Yeah.
I can go back in and say, this is so-and-so's wedding. And just when I import it the first time, I'm just importing my preset that I put in. And then later on, I can edit that metadata
Right.
inside collectively of all of the wedding photos.
Right. Because then you can add your keywords here.
I always add keywords. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And sometimes what I do is I put all of the keywords in for multiple shoots that I do. Like if I went to Boston and then I also photographed in Framingham,
Right.
I put all of that there too.
Yeah, well, I do the major stuff here and then I'd go in and pick, okay, you can do a batch keyword. Let's say I don't do ice cubes here. I won't do ice cubes here.
wouldn't have done that.
Hello? Somebody needs to be muted. Okay.
Okay, it's clear.
So let's say I don't put ice cubes in here because maybe for some reason they don't all have ice cubes, but I'll show you how we can add ice cubes to that. And then I'll go into my folder and the folders should already be there because I already had it in there. So I'll import that. So now if you didn't have, these pictures could have used all the same keywords, but let's say some of them weren't the same and I wanted to add purple to this because this is a purple flower. Not that I would necessarily do that, but I could click on these and there we go, add purple just to these, the ones that are highlighted. And now if I just click on any one individually, oh, that didn't have purple. Should have done it to that one too, but this one should. These three are the ones that I did, and those three do have purple. Can you see the flower now, Phyllis? It's in an ice cube.
Yeah, now I can.
Yeah, It was just an experiment. I just went out today. I got to do some more work on these. This is nothing. This is not ready for public viewing yet.
So as it opened up, go back to the keywording again, please.
Yep.
And underneath there's a list.
Yep.
You can make sets of things. Let's just say that
Yes.
you want to talk about that because that's part of keywording as well.
Yeah, it's part of keywording, and then we're going to do a whole thing on. I think I have a section that includes keywording. I didn't know how much time
I'm
I was
sorry.
importing. That's okay. I didn't know how much time just importing pictures would take.
No, you don't have anything on keywording. I'm looking at your list now.
Okay. Okay. Let's do it then. We have time. Let's do it. I want to do this. It doesn't matter. It's small enough. We're in the library module. All my pictures are imported, and this one I could add purple too. So I didn't add purple here, but in the keyword list is purple, and I can just if I just start typing, come here. And you put a comma in between your keywords. If I just start P, purple will be in there somewhere, right? Where's purple? How come purple's not there? I used purple. Yeah, because I'm not far enough.
It's faster just to type it than to go through that stupid list.
Well, if I did like just a few of them, let's say purple, eventually, you hit enter. When you see the word populate and it's highlighted, I hit the enter key. It is faster. Now I don't do these sets that you were talking about, Alan. Do you want to talk about them a little bit more? Because I don't typically use those. It's probably something I should be using. I'm sure this is a set of recent keywords. I see the last few things I've done in the last couple of months are all there.
There's a couple of different ways I've used it. I've been on trips to California, and during the California, I've been to the same location more than once, and I batch file a whole bunch of information about that one piece. Let's just say I went to the museum on the hill, where it's located, the address. Maybe all of that stuff gets embedded into the thing. I can collectively put all of those into a keyword situation where it's all being entered all at once to everything I selected.
So where do you, let's say you go back to that location in California,
So it would be a
the
set.
next year.
It would be a keyword set.
What?
In here, edit set.
Right.
You make a set here,
Right.
and you would do all of these things. So purple and I might do purple.
Well, go to outdoor.
Okay.
Go back up to the top and go to outdoor.
Right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
It comes up with a list of outdoor stuff, landscapes, blah blah blah, da da da. Those are all part of already embedded into the set that they put up, and you can do something
but
similar.
If you make your own set.
You can make your own set, correct?
I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
So you would delete the other ones that you don't want in your own set.
Well, yeah, but you have to do this. So save current as I say, and then call this flowers, whatever.
Right.
I'm just make a keywords for create this, and now it might be how would you, all of these would come up?
All of those would come up all at once, already embedded into the situation under the word flowers. So those the keywords would just automatically get put in.
All right,
all
so
at
now
once.
it's
Coming with the
flowers.
software.
When on import, if I choose a set of keywords, then these would automatically be put. Then I could choose from these. No, they didn't do it. That's the outdoor. Let's do flowers and let's do edit set. So I want to do purple. Oh, I just changed it here. Purple. I might want to do macro because they might be macro shots. I might want to do, I'm trying to think of that, tulips. I might want to put a whole bunch of different ones. You can do, so this is the most you can do is 9 set in a set. Alan?
Alan, are you up?
I'm sorry, I'm not pressing the button.
Oh.
There is a limit to it, I believe.
Yeah, it looks like there's 9 different words that I could make into a set. And then when I want to, if I come back and I'm importing, I can check on a keyword set, check that blah, blah, blah off, and then choose which ones of these I want to add to it.
Or you can import them all at once because it'll come in as a set.
Well, that's what I'm saying, when we're importing them. Right now, we're not importing, but you could do that on import.
Correct.
Alan, are those sets come preloaded with the software?
Yeah.
Some of them do. These
some of
did.
them do.
Outdoor, portrait, wedding, but you can create your own set as well. And that's what Alan does, is he creates his own set.
So I've been to places multiple years, and I went to the same exact spot, and I've created keywords for it, and I've made a set for it. And instead of writing everything down or picking them out, I just collect the set and put them all in there at once.
And you're saying then when you come in here, you haven't done all of that naming that I did, but you'll come over here to and you'll change the name of the folder here, and you can change the name of the images if by selecting them all and hit library, and you can rename things there. That's what you're saying you do?
I don't actually don't rename them. I would rename the file that you just highlighted that says 15.
Well, what if,
So
that's the folder.
It would be
folder.
the folder, and it would have the date. It would have the date that I collected the photos on, and then I would add flower ice cubes, and it would just show up.
Because the date would. Well, how does the date show up?
It automatically is generated every time you take a photograph. It's embedded from the camera.
Okay, and when
when you import the picture, the date will be on the left automatically.
So do it to those two.
There's no, yeah. Well, I can do.
You can import.
I can I can unclick that, but that's not my point. I'm looking at this and I'm like, where the date's not in my file name here.
Well, no, but it shows up as you import it. It'll go right into that file date. And then.
Oh, because you're not doing it in a folder like I am?
Well, it is in a folder. So in the destination, I just put on the 2023, and it'll automatically generate a new date.
Because you don't have it in a subfolder.
It's
you
in
have
a
it by, well, it's by date though.
Yes.
So it goes like that. That confuses. See, that's always confused the heck out of me.
So
and
once you import it, though,
if I have 3 or 4 days on a trip down the same card, now I have to go and reorganize all my.
No, you don't. Once it's imported, over on the left-hand side,
it'll come as dates.
You could just it'll come by date, but you can add the destination. So you can actually change.
But you still have tons of dates on the left-hand side.
Yeah, and you have to rename and move them because I might want. That doesn't work for me. That just doesn't work for me.
Cool. I don't move my stuff around very much. I tend to keep it all dated, and because it's something that the camera and the computer actually does very well. It keeps its date and time. I also keep the time on it too, so there's never a time that can be duplicated.
Okay.
But you can get all of that by looking at in the library, by looking at the metadata. You can set it to look for a certain date, right?
That's true. That's true.
I'm sure you'll get into that.
I
kind of
don't
stuff.
tend to, I don't tend to have to search for folders very often because this logic works in my brain. So I don't tend to go searching very often for
I
something.
have 500,000.
Yeah,
Mm.
no, yeah.
Alan, you have a PC, Alan. I have a question. We're talking about the keywords. When I look in my Lightroom and when I look under keywords, all I have is the square that says keywords, and you can enter in the keyword, but it doesn't have any of that suggested keywords or any of that stuff below it.
See the
Is
plus
that-
on the left of the keyword?
I'm sorry,
The plus on the left of the keyword.
there is no plus on the left of keywords.
Yeah, there is.
Hold on.
I have a
Keywording.
plus on the left of the destination.
Let me go back to import.
Maybe I misunderstood what you said.
On import, okay,
I'm on import, yep.
and when I go to keywords, I have, yeah, just like she's showing it here, all I have is just keywords with nothing below it. No suggested keywords, no nothing for keyword sets or suggested keywords or any of that.
Oh, on import.
Yeah, if you close that when you see it, yeah, close that, Zoe. Just come back to your regular screen. See how she has keywords here, and there's nothing, there's no sets or suggested keywords or anything.
Yeah, if I start typing,
How
some
do you
things
get
come
that
in.
open?
It remembers,
I-
it's like
It automatically shows up
in the import process.
in the import process, correct?
Are you looking at Joni's screen?
Yeah,
Of course.
I'm looking at Joni's screen and my own.
No, I'm talking to what's Alan.
Alan.
Yes, I am. I just don't have my system running.
I mean,
Yeah,
there is-
those,
there is a plus underneath where it says destination, but I don't
that's
think
destination.
No, that's,
No,
that's.
that's what I
That's-
thought.
That's not for, see, I don't see how you got to those, under keywords. I don't see how you got to the,
Let me launch mine and I'll find
All
it.
right, and Frank,
yeah,
before they were in the library module, they weren't,
Yeah.
these are already imported. Do you have them then?
hold on, let me get out of import. Cancel import. And now if I just go to a word under keywording. Yeah, there I have, once in, if I'm out of import, if I'm just in the library by itself, then I have, the keywords, then click here to add keywords, keyword suggestions, keyword sets. It's
Yeah.
all there in the library module, but it's not there during import.
Okay, yeah, and I don't have, and here's a keyword list right here they can make.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, it's just an import where you only have the keyword box. You don't have those other options.
Right, so
Once you've
he must,
imported it in the library, then you can use all those other options.
and that makes sense because if you're importing 100 pictures, all those 100 pictures are probably not going to have the exact same list. You're going to
Right.
vary that list probably pretty considerably.
Sure.
When I put my card in and I'm going to import my photos, I look at the photos, and if you right click on a photo you don't like, you can say delete it from everything. And that's what I do. I delete it. I'm looking at it anyway. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously, when I started this import,
Because I'll
I mean,
forget, I'll forget
can-
like those two things. I'll forget to, and I'll import them and they're like, oh crap, I don't want. So I just get rid of them right away. That's all.
well, I'm just saying, I'm looking at these pictures. I only have 17 photos. It's easy for me to say, I'm going to unclick these two. I know I'm not going to use those two. I usually import almost everything. It's very rarely that I do it this way, but I mean, this is pretty obvious. These two I'm not going to bring in.
Right.
So I
right.
just didn't click them there, but you're correct. Now, if I had brought them in, if there's something I don't want to take in, you can right click on it and you remove photo and it gives you a choice. Do you want to remove it from Lightroom or actually delete it from your disk completely? So it's not
Yeah.
even in which you probably would want to do.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Well, you're better than I am. I usually have a
No,
lot that
I'm
I
not.
want to throw out before I import.
I'm not
Oh,
better
you-
than anybody.
Frank, you're
I-
right. It only comes up after you import them. And you can modify the list afterwards.
Right, okay.
I do
Thanks.
find it useful when I go to multiple locations.
You know, I obviously I'm not better than anybody. I'm learning here too. There's plenty of ways to peel an onion here, I guess is how they say it, or something like that. But this works for me. And in looking at this process and listening to other people, we had time to make all these, to discuss all this stuff, which was nice tonight. That there are other ways to do it. Whatever you do though, the take home here is be consistent. Once you start changing your system is when I've made, and Alan knows how my catalog got messed up years ago. It's in changing a system. This works for me. I like having I hardly ever have to search for a photo. I have enough memory at this point so far in my life that I know it was about 4 or 5 years ago I went here, and I can click through and find things pretty easily. I know there's a search function. I honestly don't use it very often, but I have the keywords there just in case. And the keywords are great for making smart collections, which is, we will go over it another time. And you can add, there's lots of keywording tricks that you can add here.
Can I throw out another option just for people
Please.
who don't necessarily want to import by date? Because Lightroom, we've established Lightroom already puts dates in there. I tend to, let's say I go to New York, we went to New York in October of 2020.
No,
And 2021.
2021.
Okay, see, so I don't go by dates because dates don't mean anything to me. So I will put in under my root folder is just my images. And then I'll put in animals, travel, and then underneath travel, if I go to New York, I'll put New York, and then I'll put the date next to it. So it's in there, but it's not filed by, they're not sorted by date because Lightroom is already putting the date in for me. So
and for you, you've been to New York, say 5 times. So you go, okay, I know I went to New York. Oh, was it January of 2021? Was it October 2023? I mean, then you can kind of you can look through 3 or 4 folders and find it. So it's the same thing, only different. It's just one. It really is the same thing, only different.
Right. So it's filing it by subject, and then within the root subject folder, like within. So I went to Europe, and we did England,
done Italy
on one trip, and then we did Italy on another trip. So I would put England the date, Italy the date, but it's so because I don't remember what year I went where, so that's just an option for people who don't remember dates very well. I mean, there's people who can rattle off what they did 10 years ago and where they went and when they went. And I'm like, nah, I can't do that.
I can tell you what the temperature was and what I wore that day. I mean, seriously, my husband, he looks at me like I'm weird, but
so it's just an option for people who don't remember the date and they want to have another way to import the pictures and not have to do it by date. That's all. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Sure.
I do the same, similar to you, Beth. I have a file called travel. And then under travel, I might have a Cape Cod folder. And then in the Cape Cod folder, I might have Cape Cod 2020, Cape Cod 2021, 22, whatever.
Right.
So that I know all my Cape Cod pictures are all together in one area.
Right. Yep.
I don't even try to create dates when I write Cape Cod, and then Lightroom automatically generates the date for the folders. It's going to be 2019, 2018, and within them the dates. So it's very easy to find.
So when you're importing photos, you're not checking off You're doing it by, you're leaving the default by date here.
Yeah, it's very convenient for me. I've been to
Okay,
Paris
and you
20
can choose,
times.
and again, you can choose the format of how the date comes in. There's a bunch of ways, whatever works for you.
I know that I've been to Paris 20 times, so I can easily find whatever folder I need.
Mm-hmm.
So I go into the library system and I actually use the library sorting system. And I would go and just either go for the metadata or a date or a place. As long as I put it into the keywording, I'm all set. And if you do meta tagging for your destination, you could even meta tag and search by the place that you went to.
Yeah,
It really depends on your camera system.
and what you put in the information in your catalog. Not just the camera system, because you can add more than the camera can tell you. Right?
Yes. You can put in as much information about things as you want. You can add metadata. You can add all this information post, but initially you want to embed all of the information that you originally start off with, so that it's always there and you're able to take care of it. So I mean, I understand that everybody likes to sort things differently. I tend to not worry about what the subject is until after. And that way, I'm not interfering with the way it imports, and it comes in clean, and it's not being rewritten at the same time. But I do put it in to a secondary backup system, and that's as the raw file. It goes right into that secondary backup system. You said that you don't do that, Joni, and I would, but you also import it from your hard drive. Is that what I heard?
No, from a card reader.
You do it from the card reader. Do you do
Yeah.
a backup system? Right as you import?
Backblaze, not as I import. No, I have
Ah,
all
so
my external hard drives are backed up with Backblaze.
Yeah, I do it at the time of importing, and then if I was doing Backblade or something, that would be a third destination that I have.
Yeah, I think Charlene does it that way too. I think she has two, but I haven't had a problem with it. I'm just looking this. Here's my metadata. Why isn't my keyword in here?
Keyword is under text.
Where are you looking?
Oh,
I'm looking in the metadata in the library.
I'm going to take my hand off of that so I can talk without pressing this.
Because I put the keyword, I thought I put my keywords in there. In my
You have a
Even
tag.
the
You have a tagged image.
keywording is separate from metadata.
oh, see, that's why I had the keywords checked there. Remember I undid that? That's why. So now it'll show up. Hold on.
Dave.
You're not in the keyword.
No, in my metadata, the keywords are not showing up now because I unchecked it when I did that
Oh,
import
okay.
last time. So now that's not there. And I want to add it. It should be there. Because I have keywords on this, but it's not showing up in my metadata, don't I? Didn't I do keywords?
Yeah, you did. You typed purple and
There
flower.
we go. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, I got me nervous. Why wasn't that there? It wasn't on the first one for some reason. I don't know how it didn't get on the rest of them. Yeah, it did. I wonder why
Well,
the first
I
one
want to
doesn't
mention
have
to
it.
everybody, I've listened to a lot of different ways of doing this. And everybody has their own system. And it's good to, like what Joni said, once you get it and keep with it, that's the way you should do it. I've been doing the date since I started photography back in 1976, and everything's listed as a date. So I just continued it when I did my own system for a Lightroom, and I found it not unlike what I had done, for the last 25, 30 years. And so I found that reasonable. And I put a lot of metadata in with keywording and places and, things I've done, and I search by the keywords. There's been a couple of really good programs on that too. But everybody does different. I mean, Matt Kalinowski has his own system as well that
Yeah.
I've seen a couple times. So
I never would put any, I never thought of date. When I name something, I'll say Max's gym, Max's recital. I put somebody's name because when I'm looking for a photo, I'm looking for something more specific, like Tower Hill. I never even thought of putting a date because I just never thought of it.
Mm.
well, I mean, I keyword a lot. And I search by keywords, and I search by places. And I put all of that in as I'm importing.
This is just another set of photos. I'm not going to import these, but I did put the card reader in, and it automatically showed the pictures
Why
that I
don't
want
you
to import.
Why don't you show
Right.
people where that is located, and where you turn the radio button on for?
Hold on a second. I think maybe you weren't here when I did that earlier. Did you come in a little late?
No?
Okay. Did you not pay attention? Just kidding.
That could be it.
Um,
That
in
could be it, Joni. I
preferences,
might want.
in preferences under general, import options show import dialog when a memory card is detected. This
Okay,
has to
sorry,
be checked in
I did
your
miss that.
preferences. Okay. So, hold on. Did I eject it? Okay.
That was my error. Sorry.
No, that's
Joni.
okay. No, that's okay. Doesn't hurt to go over things again. This is just another import that I haven't brought into here. They're on a card. So we did. Oh, I know what I want. What do I want to do? Two things. I wanted to. I don't think I pointed this out. This little when in the import box, did I check after eject after import? I don't think I pointed that out.
No,
So after I import these images, which I'm not going to do now, then I don't have to eject the card from my computer. I can just take it out because it ejects it from the computer when after these pictures get imported. The other
Wait.
thing,
where is that screen?
this is the import screen. So
Okay, thank
I
you.
click on import, and here's my images, and on
Got
the
it.
left-hand panel on the source side, make sure that's checked, eject after import. Now I was going to do something over here too. Oh, so the other thing I was going to say, on the very bottom of this screen, you can actually make a preset. If you edit it, like Alan does a certain thing every single time, you can create your own preset for the import process. So Joni has, I did two of these, I think, because I was practicing it today. And this is ducks of Falmouth, it turns out, which you wouldn't want that in there. Let's do this again. Let's do none. You can create a user preset. So if you know, all know me, so how I do it. So I do file handling, I build smart previews. I don't make a second copy. File renaming, I have Joni's standard preset. I add, it turns out Falmouth ducks will be here, I think. Ducks of Falmouth.
On the very top, you had ducks of Falmouth. It's already there. You didn't see
Yeah, but
it.
it had that, no, I did, it had the date. I didn't want the date. So my file naming preset is there, apply during import. I don't want to add keyword. I'm making a preset for a import. Develop settings. I want to have optics, lens correction, metadata. For this year, I can keep my metadata preset. Keywords I don't want to add. And now that I've and maybe this year, I always want to go into my 2023 folder. Now I come down here and save this as a preset. And I'll call this 2023 Joni. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. How can I edit that? Rename. Okay. So now, next time I come in and I want to import pictures, really all I have to do is go down to the bottom of the screen to Joni's 2023 standard import. Now I can do my keywords. I can do my file name. That happened to show up, but oh, see, I didn't want that. That was the whole thing. I didn't want that there. You don't want that. You want that to be blank. I did put Ducks of Falmouth in my preset. You don't want that. You want that to be blank and put it in. And your keywords you can add in here, and then right click and create your folder. But everything else can all be saved as that preset. But like we were talking about keywords, you've got to be careful. I put a folder name in there. I shouldn't have put the folder name in there. Wonder if I can delete this. Delete. And file renaming, take this out. So now we've got the images, we've got the file handling. I usually do that. Standard preset for templates. Apply during import, this. Go to here, boom. Now I want to save this as a preset. And cancel that. Now when I go in here, and I click on the pictures and I go to Joni's 2023 standard import preset. Now that should be right. Now I would have to do my file name. I'd have to put my Ducks of Falmouth, which actually is in here, I think now. Right there. Maybe I didn't see it before, Phyllis, maybe you're right.
Yeah, it was there right at the top.
Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. And then the keywords, Ducks, Falmouth, blah, blah, blah. And I'm in this folder, create my folder. So I don't have to go through all of these things because I made a preset. That was what my point of that was. Did that make sense?
Yes.
So we sort of got into a lot of the stuff that we'll be doing next week in terms of organization. And I can look over my notes. Let me get out of it. We don't need to share anymore.
But
see.
as you made a note earlier, do it consistently over and over and over again.
Exactly.
That's most important to do. And that way you're able to continue to do the same thing over and over and over again. I
have, for the most part, gone over the organizational system tonight. I don't know that we need to rework that next week.
For me, anytime something's repeated, I pick up something new, but that's my way of learning.
Okay. Alan, would you be willing to have your Lightroom open and maybe share your screen and show your system, or maybe Beth too, so we can all see different perspectives?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay. Whose
Does
keyboard am I
anybody use
looking at?
hierarchical keywords?
Paul, say that again, sorry.
Does anyone use hierarchical keywords?
What do you mean by hierarchical?
So like you could have a category of places, and then you might have countries, and then you might have states, and then cities, and then times of year or something.
So you
I
remember
do
where she was with the list of extra stuff? That it was on the right-hand side. It was the key categories. So she'd pick a net file and then go into the keyword list.
Are you talking about in the import or in the library?
I guess you would. I
So
guess
go
you'd
down to
create
the go down to the
library.
keyword list.
Right here?
Yep. And
Oh
you can
yeah,
actually-
okay,
You can actually set all that stuff up.
right.
Inside
Okay.
here. And then you could actually have it, your list being certain cities, certain dates,
Right.
certain places you went to.
Okay.
And you can search those things here too,
Yes.
Ah, okay.
if the
And
list
then
gets
once
too
you
long.
put in.
I mean, this catalog is small, so there's not a lot in here.
Right.
The great thing about keywording is go down to the one that has 2 images, the buildings, or 7 images. Just tag that to the right. Go all the way to the right. Now that should bring up all of the. If you look down on her strip down at the bottom, those brought up all of those buildings because she tagged it, and that's the beauty about the keywording. And you go to the list, and you can actually search your whole entire catalog immediately once you put the keywords in it. I find the keywords are very, very helpful for a lot of different things. So not just dates.
Right. Does Lightroom have like in Apple Photos, it's got like the whole facial recognition system where it'll auto recognize certain faces, and if you assign a name to the face, it will go through and auto tag all your stuff. Will Lightroom do that too?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Right.
Okay.
Let me
There's a
just
little-
say though,
There's a little button down here, the little
I
face
would
button,
do
isn't that it?
a small section at a time.
Yeah.
Mm.
Otherwise,
take
unless you've got
forever.
a system that has,
I don't think I have any faces in this
700,000
Well,
catalog.
megabytes.
I've noticed just with my Apple Photos that, and those are all just stuff I take with my phone, not with my camera. It has run for days and days, and it's still not finished.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've got to be very careful, but you could selectively do that in small folders.
Okay.
And once it learns who it is, it becomes faster.
Right.
But at the beginning, if you don't, you're in trouble, because it'll just eat up your system, and it'll just chug its way through.
Okay.
So
Not to mention that the masking also finds people too in the
but
development.
that's individually though. That's on the image that you selected.
Yes.
What did Fred say at the beginning? I didn't want to, you said masking?
You select the face.
Masking has people, and I have one that has 2 people.
Oh, yeah, when you in the develop module.
But I think what Paul was saying, it's facial recognition.
Yeah, tag
Right.
names to facial, to faces.
But you're talking, Fred, in the develop module.
Mhm.
This is in the library module.
Right. Yeah. So somewhat
So-
off topic question
Yeah.
regarding Lightroom and catalogs and editing. What kind of horsepower do you need these days to effectively run Lightroom? I've got a really old Mac laptop and it's just not up to the task. And so I need to get something new.
I would think Adobe would tell you that. if you went on Adobe's website.
Well, I think
what
they
each-
tell you what the minimum specs are, but they don't tell
Oh,
you
okay.
really
Right.
need, like,
Oh.
they don't tell you what you realistically need.
So
Right.
let me just say that if you can put 128 on your board, I would put on 128 if you can afford it.
For RAM.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
okay.
then I would get a SSD card and devote it to a scratch disk,
Okay.
because that makes everything faster.
Mhm.
And then of course you want your board to be fast, and all of that takes up a lot of energy. And then if you have a really good video card, that all adds to the speed of the system. Even though it's a gaming, it might be a gaming video card, that actually adds to your processing, because it's got its own little processor on it.
Okay.
So when you say
Oh.
RAM, you mean memory right here?
Yeah, the memory. So you have 16, I
Yeah.
have 64.
Oh, I thought you said 128.
Well, yeah.
That's what he thinks you should have.
Oh, yeah. If you can afford, I heard what he
Right.
said.
So when I put my system together, I could only afford 64.
Yeah. So is
I
that
just
something
have
you
a
can
note
add to the
about-
computer?
I have 2 more slots open.
Not,
I know,
not
is
to
that
a
something-
Mac.
Not to a, well, I know
No.
you can't add memory. Okay.
Paul,
I know you can't to a laptop.
do you know who Tim Gray is, Paul?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Okay, so Tim Gray, a couple months ago, someone asked him, they were gonna buy a new MacBook Pro, and I listened because mine is like 7 years old.
Hmm.
If there's a way to search for it, he put what he had just bought, but I can tell you what I remember. He got the M1 processor because there was no M2, and he
Okay.
got a 2 terabyte hard drive, which like adds
Okay.
another like $600 to the, I priced it, it was like close to $5,000. But
Wow.
if you can find it on his website, or if you emailed him, he would probably tell you. And he said everything was just like zipping along so well, he was really happy.
And he got the M1, right?
He did.
Okay, 'cause I read a review not too long ago, and it was probably an older review saying that the jury was still out on whether M1s were good enough for photo editing. But the article was written just after the M1 was released, and nobody really had a chance to evaluate it yet.
M1 is much faster. And just one note about the memory handling. If you have an Intel processor, like Johnny has and I, and it says 16 gigabytes of memory, for M1, that would mean like the equivalent of 32, because the memory management is different. So
Ah,
M1 and an 8 is more like an Intel with a 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got an M1 Pro, and before it was Intel i7, very high speed, but M1 Pro beats everything and more. I'm just absolutely happy about that.
So
Does-
it all depends on the board that you buy and the ability of the board to hold the RAM.
Right.
So my board is capable of doing 128. And
But be careful with the graphics card, because graphics card is really important for Lightroom and Photoshop. Some features may not be available if you don't have a good
Right.
graphics card.
so my graphics card's a 2 megabyte, I think it is.
boy, this is even geeking me out, guys.
But
My husband thinks I'm all about the tech geek stuff. I'm
But-
not.
But let's just say that you got an existing system, and it's a Mac. There is a limitation on the board
Right.
on how many RAMs you can put in.
Right.
Now, if you have a board that can hold 16 or 32, you have 16 on yours, and it can hold 32.
Yeah.
There's a slot system that you can open up, and it's really easy. But you can take the old ones out and put new ones in and increase your RAM. So
That's true for the older Macs. The newer Macs, you can't upgrade them.
Really?
That's correct.
The
I
old- the
know
newer
my
Mac
I know my
laptops-
laptop. The laptops you
Oh.
can't, but I thought
Yeah,
you
the
could the
laptop.
desktop.
My
But I thought you
desktop,
could the desktop.
I don't know about the desktops. I haven't touched a Mac desktop in probably 25 years.
You
Oh,
can,
okay.
you can.
Yeah,
As
the
long
current
as you did that,
24-inch
you can upgrade.
desktop cannot be upgraded.
They put that into the system now that you can't even upgrade. You have to.
So there's,
Not-
it's basically solid. It's a solid chunk of aluminum that they carve everything out of, and they put an entirely integrated board right into it, and then put a cover over it. So there's no add-on modules. There's no update slots. It's all hardwired to the board.
when did
And with
this start, Paul?
M1, with M1, M2 computers, it's not even upgrading. It's not even RAMs. It's just everything on one chip. CPU, RAM, everything on one chip.
Because
Yeah, the M1s and M2s are an entirely different processor, which that's one of the other questions I was going to ask is Adobe natively supporting M1 and M2 now? Because those are an ARM processor, which
Now they do.
They do? Okay.
Now they do, yeah.
Okay.
If you haven't updated, just update it now.
Right, because I don't want to buy a Mac and then have to run like Adobe stuff through an emulator.
No,
Okay.
no emulators, no whatever it's software, the transit, it's native.
yeah, really. I have a
But Joni, it's part of making the system run better.
I
And-
agree. I
and-
understand
and-
what you're saying.
You know, I understand there's a lot of geek stuff that people talk about, but it's all integrated to the systems that you use. Now, you might not want to use it, but believe it or not, every time you call Apple to get something fixed, you're actually geeking out too, only you're making somebody else do the geeking.
I know, it's true. Or
By proxy.
Adobe.
If
Or
you're not
Adobe.
a
I mean,
real
my
geek,
Lightroom runs slow, and I've been like slowly working on things to
Have you
bring the
optimized?
catalog down. Yes.
Right.
And it doesn't run slow on this catalog because this catalog's so small than what we do in the SIG, but on my catalog, it can be slow.
so
But
That's
there's a list this long of why that can be, and I'm kind of slowly chipping away at it.
Right. Have you optimized it? Have you, so the smart, you said you do a lot of smart previews.
Right, but right.
So the smart
I-
previews take up a chunk of memory.
So I have a smart collection that after a certain amount of time, it removes anything. I've got a smart. I call them out after time.
Okay.
I don't keep them on all the time. I just keep them on for maybe 6 months, a year. And then I'm not using them after that usually. And if I do, you can add them back in.
Right.
for those of us who aren't geeky, suggestion.
You're geeky.
If you go, like if you're looking to get a new computer and you really want it to work well with Adobe and Lightroom and Photoshop and so on, you might consider going to a good computer store, someplace like the Micro Center in Cambridge. And if you go in, and they're very knowledgeable and very good, and they can put systems together for you. If you go in with what you really need to do and how much you're willing to spend, you can talk to them and they can really set you up with a system that's going to work best for what you're trying to do.
They
And
do
their
Apple and
PCs.
PC,
Many of them
PC
are
only.
PCs and Macs.
There was a company 100 years ago called Egghead. You would go to them and you
You
would
remember
tell
that?
them what you wanted and they would make it. Of course, I didn't know what I want, so I never went to them, but I knew about them.
Yeah.
Egghead.
Alan, are you taking our picture?
Yeah, I am. Can you see my camera?
I can.
There you
Is it a
go.
Lego?
So-
Is it a Lego camera?
It's a Lego camera.
Paul,
Does it make a clicking sound?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Does it make a clicking sound
Yeah.
when you press a button?
Did you hear it?
No.
Wait,
Well,
wait,
we're all
wait,
talking, so.
stay- wait. See if you can hear it.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, we can
Little
hear it.
beep. I heard a beep. Beth, did you have a question for Paul?
well, I just wanted to ask, because I have a 2017 desktop Mac, and it has I put in I don't know what it came with, but I have 40 gig of RAM, which is the maximum I could put in.
Yeah.
But it's a 5i or i5 or
i5.
Intel 5, whatever, i5.
Yeah,
Yeah, so, and it's getting sort of slow, I think. But-
So you could be running into hard drive problems. If the hard drive itself is 5 years old, you could have fragmentation on your hard drive such that things are just really hard. It's just really slow to find any of the data. I've got a 2012 MacBook Pro that was getting slower and slower and slower. And when I swapped out the hard drive for an SSD based drive, it was like a brand new laptop, and I didn't upgrade the memory or anything. And it was simply that my hard drive was so old and it was so fragmented. And over time, you end up with dead spots on your hard drive, and the operating system will mark that as like unallocatable. And so what ends up happening is it looks like your hard drive is getting full, and yet the amount of data on there will show up as maybe it's only 50% full, but you can't put any more stuff on it because you've got so many unallocatable spots. And just replacing your hard drive alone with, and moving all your data over can breathe new life into it, especially the desktop.
Paul, I did the same for my computer, but I think 2017 Mac already came with an SSD drive.
Oh, it may have, yeah. The
Mine
2012
doesn't.
model I had was a spinning rust platter.
That's what I had in my 2011, and I changed it to SSD, and it flew, of course. But
Yeah,
2017, I think my 2016 already had a SSD drive.
Okay.
We're losing
Virginia.
we're losing people.
So Beth, where'd you go, Beth? You
I
still
know she's
here?
gone. No, she's gone.
Oh, I was gonna tell her that she should go back in and look at all of her backups and delete a large selection of old backups. That'll
On
free
the-
up.
On the time machine?
No, on the, so every time, do you have your set, did you talk about this? I'm sorry if I'm redundant. Did you talk about backups?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did last week and this week about only keeping maybe 2 or 3 or 4 years and getting rid of everything else.
Right. So when I
Well,
close
that'll
this
free
now,
up-
I haven't
that'll
done it
free up
tonight.
Some allocation of
You talk
space in
about-
the machine to speed it up a little bit too.
Right. So when I back up, here, I'm going to close. Oh, I'm not sharing in it right now, am I? Hold on. Let me share my screen. I forgot I wasn't sharing my screen anymore. Am I? No, there we go. So, okay, folks, let's get so here you can see. Well, this isn't going to work for you. Hold on. Because my Lightroom, you can't see my Lightroom anymore. But I just was closing down. I was just closing down Lightroom, and here's when I go to close Lightroom, I'm going to back it up. It asks me if I want to back it up every time I exit,
And that's a good thing to do.
And this is the backup folder, so I know where it is. It happens to be on an external hard drive because I want it separate from my internal hard drive. And I check these two to test the integrity and optimize the catalog. And then I back it up there. And if you look on here, this is my Lightroom backup external hard drive. Does that answer the question?
Mine is set to back up once a week because I'm not using it that often.
Yeah, but it has to be on.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
It only asks you once a week when you open it and are closing it.
Yeah, it asks me when I close it once a week.
Right. Mine asks me every time, and I can choose to not. If I just opened it and I did something, maybe I just exported something for whatever reason, I don't back it up. Like today, I was opening and closing just to show you. I wasn't backing them up every time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially my if I've done a lot in my big catalog, my main catalog, it'll take maybe 5 minutes to back up. Paul is telling us.
Beth is back on now.
I know, I let her in. Paul put a
meant
link here to MacBook Pro recommendations.
I
But
just
I
googled
wouldn't-
around for Tim Gray and,
But I
and
wouldn't imagine that's just for MacBook. I would think it would be any computer, or maybe any Apple system.
what do you mean? I mean,
If
that's
Alan's suggestion was it might be slow because you have too many backups saved. You should maybe go and see how
No,
many.
I clean out my backups. The Lightroom
Oh, the-
backups,
Yeah,
Lightroom, yeah, I clean them out.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I can.
that's one thing that makes it slow too.
Mm.
I usually
know,
keep about
So,
3.
so another question is your scratch disk.
I don't know what
Yeah.
that is.
You don't know.
I
what it
don't
is?
either, but when
I
I'm
don't
in
know where to
Photoshop-
find it. I don't know what it is.
I know.
Okay, so.
I mean,
in-
I've
in your-
heard of it, but I don't know anything about it.
So what a scratch disk does, it uses the hard drive as RAM. And
Yeah.
so it'll use that back and forth. It'll go back and forth just like the RAM does, only a slightly different way. So the scratch disks could be filled too, and you might need to get another scratch disk. I have almost a dedicated scratch disk. That's a SSD card right on my board that I use as a scratch disk. And
I'm sorry, I don't know, SCRATCH,
Yeah.
scratch disk.
and it's a disc?
Is that the
Yes,
same?
that's what it's called, a scratch disk.
Is that the
And you-
same?
technically speaking, it's called swap space, and it's when there's too much stuff in memory, the operating system will look for a space on your hard drive to write it out to. Usually there's a percentage of your hard drive reserved for this scratch space that Alan's talking about. He's actually saying rather than having the scratch space on the physical hard drive that all your applications are loaded on and all your operating system are loaded on, have an entirely separate drive dedicated for the memory to use as that scratch space.
Like,
How do you
it's like an
do-
overflow. It sounds like
Yeah.
it's an overflow of.
So
and
how do
it
you do that?
decides what it's getting rid of. I
In
mean,
your preferences, you can allocate the direction to the scratch disk.
Really?
So
but that's your computer
System-
preferences, right?
no, that's in your Lightroom.
Oh, well, all
Is
right.
that the same as cache?
No,
Now, cache is a portion of memory. It's usually the cache is usually the smallest amount of memory closest to the CPU.
So I'm looking under preferences and I'm not finding scratch.
I'm sorry, I'll find it.
I thought it was a Photoshop. I didn't know it was a Lightroom thing too. I thought it was, I know I've seen the messages in Photoshop.
Yeah, I've seen that too. I don't know what to set it at though in Photoshop. But
I know, and we're getting a little bit close to 9 o'clock and outside of the realm, I think. I know it's helpful and useful, but I just want to reiterate next week. Beth, were you here? Did I ask you? You're gonna
yes.
if you wanted to share your screen, and for Alan said he'll come and he'll share his screen,
Sure.
and we'll look at other ways to organize. Because next week was supposed to be all about organization, which we dipped into tonight, but we certainly can. Everybody, I mean, other people seem to think that it wouldn't hurt to go over it again and in more detail. And having other people who do it differently than I think would be helpful to us.
Yeah,
Okay.
repetition makes it easier to learn. It's
Yeah.
sort of like when you go to a lecture and it's a 2 or 3 hour lecture, if you take 1 or 2 things, it was worth it. Because you can't remember, even if you take notes. So thank you.
And if either one of you have time to make up a little short list of notes that we can put out after the recording, that's fine. If you don't, we'll have the recording. I'm sure it'll be fine. All right. Is that okay?
Well, I'm thankful we Zoomed it because driving tonight is no fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Oh, bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
All right, so
Thank
I
you.
will send out
Okay.
the recording and the notes, and I will next week remind us, probably Saturday or Sunday, hopefully I'll remember to send out the link for next week, which is the same as this week, but I just think it's helpful for some people.
Johnny, I just
And-
remember, I have one quick question.
Sure.
You mentioned Lightroom Cloud and Lightroom Classic, right?
Yes,
Very beginning.
yes.
And when you open Lightroom Cloud, your
Creative Cloud, CC, yep,
your collections were there.
yes.
But that means that Lightroom actually uploaded your pictures in the cloud for the CC to have it available.
So they actually come from your collections. Oh, I don't have any collections in this catalog, sorry. Let's do a collection. No, I
have one
can't,
if you want,
I
Tony.
can't do it. I can't do it from this one. I have to do it from the other one. Whoops, I didn't want that one.
Joni, I can share my screen if you want.
No, that's all
'cause
right. No, it's right. No, it's right here. And I'll open this as well at the same time.
What is a collection versus a catalog?
Right. Let's go. This
Well, I
is,
just have to say, it might be an error. It might be in your hard drive system on the computer. Or scratch disk.
the scratch disk. Okay. So where are we? Folders, collections. So I have collections, I have smart collections, a bunch of different collections. And the ones that I have chosen to sync, this is Lightroom Classic, what we've been mostly working in. But what I've chosen to sync to Lightroom Mobile, or what they call the Creative Cloud, Lightroom CC, there's little gray boxes that you can check and uncheck which collections you want to sync over there. And once you open Lightroom Classic, so this is Lightroom Classic, and here's my folders. These are all the things that I have synced in my collections. Well, that doesn't look good. And you can do almost all the same editing in Lightroom CC, Lightroom Creative Cloud, or Lightroom Mobile. And if I'm on my iPhone or my iPad, anywhere that I can log into the internet, I can get into my Lightroom Classic by signing into my Adobe account, and I can access these collections and I can edit them and I can export them. The only thing you can't do in Lightroom Creative Cloud is import the pictures from a card reader.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
I think
Johnny,
you can
so if
import
I'm-
it. You can import them from your phone though. If I take a raw, if I'm gonna do it, I do a raw image on my phone. I can import it in Lightroom Mobile on my phone itself.
You can also
Johnny,
use a
I would like
card
to
reader.
understand if I understand it correctly. So
Yeah.
are you saying that the only pictures that could be seen on Lightroom Mobile are those that are in collections?
Or ones you've added. You can add photos from other places, but it's not from a card reader, I don't think. If I add
Joni,
photos from here, I can add
You-
photos from other places like my phone. I know that.
You
Go
can
ahead.
add an external card reader into your iPad and upload the pictures into photos and then
You
put
can.
them into Lightroom if you want to do that.
That's true.
But
That's true.
I
And then
think,
when you
doesn't that use
sync
up-
them back,
doesn't that use up the Lightrooms or the cloud
Great.
storage doing it that
Yes.
way?
yeah. I mean, I have 20 gigabytes that I pay for, and I'm only using 5 right now. But yes, and you can change that. I mean, you can, maybe I haven't looked at these headshots right now. I don't need, I made this folder of headshots for people who I did headshots for, and I send them a link to preview the images. And this is how I share my images with quote unquote clients. These were family pictures. This is maternity pictures. So I would make a collection and I would share the link. I mean, this is not a course on this, but I would share this link with them, and then they would be able to see these pictures and thumbnails of them, and then they would tell me which ones they want, and I would put something together for them and blah, blah, blah. So that's mostly what I use it for.
How do they know? I don't see any name or number on it.
When they get the link, they do.
Okay.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. So, oh, who's that? Oh, my bubbalas. So
Look at
that's
her
the difference.
Beautiful, beautiful green eyes. They were green, weren't they? The
Yeah,
little girl.
she's got like hazel eyes like me, I think. Yeah, she's kind of
Yeah, they look
hazily.
green.
Easily.
I know, but hazel eyes they'll look green, they'll look green or they'll look brown. They change with the light and the color.
Yeah.
Sorry, little bragging. Grandma's bragging.
Hey,
All right, I am
You're
gonna say
supposed to.
goodnight though, people.
Thank you, Joni.
Well,
Joni.
I'm
Yeah, thank you
doing.
very much.
I'm trying. I appreciate all the feedback from you guys too. I mean, I'm setting up the format, but I'm happy to have us all share this information. I
It
really am.
makes us all better.
yep,
I hope so.
yep. I'm just impressed that you know so much and I know so much.
Well, tonight I didn't feel like I did.
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
you do.
Don't feel that way.
I know just
Yeah.
enough to be dangerous.
Yeah, but the collective knowledge of this group is amazing.
Yes, yeah, and exactly. And I appreciate that. Okay, kids.
All right, good
Thank
night,
you.
We'll see you
everybody.
tomorrow.
Night.
Thank
Bye,
Tomorrow.
you.
everybody.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joni.